Hi everyone, Mike here. Just wanted to make a quick video to answer some of the questions from last week's poll. It seems only fair. I asked you a bunch of questions, and so I wrote down some of the questions that you asked. I'm going to try to answer them real quick here. Sorry I couldn't do it yesterday. I had dental surgery. Still feels a little funny, but good enough for this. Okay. So, as you remember, the poll was really about evidence and what that means and how we interpret it. And you really should go check out what your classmates think. There are certain patterns that start to emerge if you ask a bunch of people the same question. And it's really kind of interesting. And also reveals both the strengths and weaknesses of how evidence works in our day-to-day lives. And not next week, which is Thanksgiving, but the following week when I do the final main video for the class, I'll briefly talk about this. Okay, so to the questions. I think there were a couple of doubles and a few of you didn't have a question, but I think there's like 5 or 6 questions, so I'm just going to run through them real quick. So the first one, which is appropriate, is how accurate are my thoughts? Now, I really don't think that anyone's thoughts are super accurate outside of some specialty area. So for example, if you ask me how accurate my thoughts are on a specific philosophy issue that I've studied a lot or that I teach all the time, I would say that it's pretty high. Not perfect, of course. Some field expert on Descartes knows more about Descartes than I do. But I teach Descartes pretty much every semester. And so I have a pretty good knowledge. And so my accuracy there to the actual material, to the book that Descartes wrote that we can all go look at, is pretty high. But if you ask me how accurate is my view on politics or legal issues or something like that, I do follow them quite closely, much more closely than most people. However, I still bring all kinds of biases and my own background influences and my general view that we should try to help as many people as possible and not hurt other people. So all that kind of feeds into my views. And so accuracy is a very weird question there. So in my specialty areas, pretty accurate. I do have a PhD. I do know a fair amount of stuff in certain areas. But in general life, probably not much more accurate than anyone else. I would say just average. Another interesting question was, what would I be doing if I wasn't a professor? And I can answer this pretty easily because I literally was trying to decide between these 2 jobs when I was thinking about going back to school or thinking about getting a career that I loved instead of just something that made money, which I tried and didn't like. And the answer is outdoor education. So I had taken some family members and some of their friends out hiking and camping and teaching them how to do it, how to set up a tent, where to set it up, how to pack your pack, things like this. And I really did like it a lot. I still like it a lot. And so I probably would have done something in that field if I hadn't decided to do this instead. Someone asked what my view of the multiverse theory is. If you don't know what this is, a good place to go look up is a podcast by Sean Carroll. He's a famous physicist and he talks about this all the time. And I know a little bit about it. My general view is many physicists and lots of people in general are really trying to create certainty when there isn't any. And as far as I can tell, there's not enough evidence one way or the other to say the multiverse is a true theory, and there's certainly no experimental evidence to say that. Yet, a lot of them still say it. And I think the reason this happens more than anything else, and Sean Carroll I listen to his podcast almost every week, and he is a proponent of a version of this multiverse theory. And it seems to me that they can't imagine a system where the math doesn't work. And so for them, the math equals the truth. And if the math points them to something, it must exist. And I don't know enough about the field to say how accurate he is versus other people's theories. But as an outsider, I certainly have not seen any evidence that regular people should have any reason to think the multiverse is real, except that it's kind of fun to talk about. My main fun things to do outside of class is really two. One of them is very outdoorsy. I mentioned the outdoor education, and I really do like to do hiking, canoeing, things like that. Especially canoeing is probably the one that I feel the greatest joy when I'm doing. But I also like hiking and just going for walks, stuff like that. So probably the outdoor stuff. And I also game quite a bit. If you're interested in gaming or you want to chat gaming, I've been gaming since 1989. I'm kind of old now. I build my own computer. I update it when I need to, rebuild it again if I need to. So I know a fair amount. If you want to chat, happy to chat about it. Do I believe in God? No, but it's complicated. If you want to chat about this, it would take way more time than I want to spend right now on this quick video. But the short answer is no. But I also think the question's very poorly formed. And I'm not a huge fan of belief in general, in anything that there's no evidence for. And so if you want to chat about it, happy to chat. I have a long history. I went to a Jesuit college for my master's degree. I know a lot about theology for someone who's not a believer. One of my best friends in philosophy is a person who specializes in faith in peace activity, peace marches and stuff like that. And so I know quite a bit about it. And if you want to chat, happy to chat. Just message me. My favorite color is blue, bluish gray, I kind of like. And I always end the polls with a question I've been using for 12 years now. Would you stay in a haunted house? And the answers are no, yes, and haunted houses don't exist. And for me, that's the one I would go along with. That also goes to another question about, do I believe in the paranormal? And the answer is no. I don't exclude the possibility that these things might exist, but you're going to have to show me a ton of evidence. When you make extraordinary claims, you need extraordinary evidence. And so this is one of the things that I'll talk about when we get to it in a couple weeks. But anytime someone wants to make a claim that ghosts exist, or I don't know, lizard men are living under Manhattan, or whatever it happens to be, all the current craze with QAnon and all those things. If you're making extraordinary claims, and by that I mean claims that are not everyday occurrences, that everyone can just verify by looking and asking, then you need to bring extra evidence, because it's an extraordinary claim. It's not just a normal everyday claim. If I say, whiteboards are white, and I can just show you the whiteboard, and here's a whiteboard and it's white. Doesn't mean all whiteboards are white, but it means this one it is. You can look at it, you can verify it. You could come to my house and we could just verify this. That's an everyday kind of boring claim. But if you say Bigfoot exists, I'm going to need you to bring that dude in. And we're going to need a team of scientists, DNA, and the creature's got to be right there. And hopefully don't kill him. That would be mean. And so for an extraordinary claim, you need extraordinary high levels of evidence, not just my brother-in-law happened to see something when he was drunk out in the woods. I've seen stuff out in the woods. I didn't imagine it was Bigfoot. Okay, so that would be how I deal with this, and this is all tied to my views on evidence, which I'll get to in a couple weeks. And that's it. But remember, if you have any other questions or you want to talk about one of these other things, outdoor stuff, gaming, exercise, I'm a bit of an exercise fanatic too, and my belief in God or any other philosophical issue or critical thinking issue, happy to chat. Just send me a message. We can set up a Zoom. If you want to, we can meet in person at Parkland. It's up to you. And that's it. Have a good holiday. The assignment should be fun / not too easy. And it's very flexible. Do it before, after. I don't care too much about the due date for that. And I'll see you in a couple weeks.